Detective John Smith had seen it all. With over 20 years on the force and a reputation for solving challenging cases, he thought he had experienced every twist and turn the city could throw at him. But nothing could have prepared him for the perplexing case that was about to unfold. It all started when a woman walked into his office. Sarah Johnson, a woman in her mid-30s with long brown hair and piercing blue eyes, introduced herself and confessed her deepest fear: her memories had been stolen. John raised an eyebrow, skepticism written across his face. And he said,
"Stolen memories?"
Yes, when I woke up this morning, I couldn't remember anything from the past year. It's as if it has all been erased.
Intrigued by the strange claim, John decided to take on the case. He asked Sarah to recount everything she could remember from the past year, meticulously taking notes as she spoke. John delved into the investigation, starting by interviewing Sarah's friends and family. Each person confirmed that she had been acting peculiarly, though they couldn't pinpoint the cause of her distress. He meticulously combed through Sarah's phone and computer but found no evidence of foul play. To rule out any physical ailments, John visited the hospital, but the doctors assured him that Sarah had no apparent head injuries or medical conditions that could explain her memory loss. Days turned into weeks, and frustration began to gnaw at John. The lack of leads combined with Sarah's worsening condition amplified the urgency to resolve the case. With time slipping away, John knew he had to act swiftly. One day, as John sat in his office poring over the case files, a peculiar detail caught his attention. So consumed with the idea of stolen memories, he had overlooked vital clues buried within the investigation. It dawned on him that all the people affected by the memory loss had one common factor: they had dined at a newly opened restaurant in town. Determined to uncover the truth, John decided to investigate the restaurant himself. That evening, he ordered the same dish Sarah had on the night she lost her memories and waited, anticipation pulsing through his veins. Within moments, an odd sensation engulfed him. His head spun, and memories faded into oblivion, erasing the past hour of his life. It became glaringly clear that something nefarious was at play. Undeterred by his own memory loss, John returned to the restaurant the next day, determined to confront the owner and uncover the full extent of their actions. The owner, Mr. Richards, appeared visibly nervous as John entered the establishment, clearly aware that his secret was on the verge of being exposed. John sat down at a secluded table, his gaze fixed on Mr. Richards, who seemed to be struggling to maintain his composure. Sensing an air of desperation, John decided to press harder for answers. John said,
"Mr. Richards, I know what you've been up to. You've been deliberately erasing people's memories with the spice in your food. But why?"
Mr. Richards shifted uncomfortably in his seat, beads of sweat forming on his forehead. He glanced around, ensuring no one was within earshot, before leaning closer to John. He confessed, his voice trembling, and said,
"It wasn't my idea. The organization which called the Oblivion Syndicate, they forced me to do it. They supplied me with a mysterious drug that had memory-erasing effects. They threatened to harm my family if I didn't comply."
John's eyes widened as the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. The restaurant owner was just a pawn in a much larger game orchestrated by the Oblivion Syndicate. But what troubled him even more was the revelation that Sarah, the woman who had sought his help, was the one who had manufactured the memory-altering drug. John was shaken to his core by the harsh reality that unfolded before him. Sarah, a victim in her own right, had been mercilessly coerced by the organization to develop the very drug that inflicted immense anguish and turmoil. Exploiting her vulnerability, the organization resorted to using her family as leverage, adding an agonizing dimension to her tragic predicament. As the weight of the situation sank in, John couldn't help but feel a mix of empathy and anger. Sarah had taken the drug, unaware that it would lead her to seek help from him. The strong subconscious desire for revenge had influenced her actions, driving her towards him without her conscious knowledge. Realizing the depth of Sarah's involvement and the tragic loss she had suffered, John knew that justice needed to prevail, not just for the victims, but also for her. He vowed to dismantle the Oblivion Syndicate, to bring an end to their nefarious operations, and to uncover the truth behind Sarah's unwitting role in their schemes. With renewed determination, John embarked on a relentless pursuit of the organization's leaders. Through tireless investigations and strategic maneuvering, he slowly peeled back the layers of secrecy that shrouded the Oblivion Syndicate. In a final, climactic confrontation, John uncovered the hidden truths and confronted Sarah, their paths converging once again. The anguish on her face mirrored the pain she had endured, losing her family without awareness of her own involvement in their fate. His voice filled with a mixture of empathy and resolve, and he said,
Sarah, you were forced to create this drug, and it has caused so much suffering. But we can bring down the Oblivion Syndicate together. Let us put an end to their reign of darkness.
Sarah, torn between remorse and a desire for redemption, chose to cooperate with John. Together, they exposed the organization's operations and brought its leaders to justice. As the city breathed a collective sigh of relief, John couldn't help but feel a sense of sadness for what Sarah had endured. The memories she had sought to erase would forever haunt her, a constant reminder of the pain she had unwittingly inflicted. In the aftermath, Sarah, having regained her freedom, dedicated herself to helping others and preventing the atrocities she had been a part of. With each passing day, she sought to atone for her actions, driven by a profound understanding of the consequences of her choices. John, too, carried the weight of the truth they had uncovered. The case had tested his own convictions, forcing him to confront the complexities of human nature. Yet, in the face of darkness, he remained steadfast in his commitment to protect and serve. As the sun set on their journey, John and Sarah parted ways, each carrying the burden of their past and the hope for a better future. The scars would always remain, but the resilience they had discovered within themselves would guide them towards a path of redemption and healing.